Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I can't believe it, but it has been almost a year since I have done a top 5 concealer video or a favorite concealer video. So I feel like it's high time to update this video for y'all and let me know what my current favorite concealers are. 3 of them were mentioned in the last video. One of the ones that I'm going to talk about as an honorable mention is one of those 3. So I do have 3 new ones that I'm going to be talking about. And if you're new to my channel, it's going to be all new. I am also going to be talking about color correctors. There are a couple of concealers where I will tell you I don't personally need a color corrector with them. And there's one color corrector where I don't necessarily need a concealer with them. But I will talk about that as I go along. I suffer from extreme darkness under the eyes. It is something that's genetic. It doesn't ever really get better with anything, but it definitely gets worse with lack of sleep or allergies or stress. So it's something I've had to deal with my entire life, which is why I use a color corrector, because I feel like sometimes concealers in themselves just make it look more of like a light gray under my eyes versus canceling it out altogether. So if you don't have a ton of darkness, you may skip the color corrector section altogether. But if you want to know what I use, what I love, and why, let's go ahead and jump in, starting with color correctors. I have 4 favorites. Only 3 of them do I have in my actual collection right now because I'm out of one of them. And that one that I'm out of and can't show you, I will pop a picture up, but I can't show you in my hand, is the Clinique Airbrush Concealer. And now this is specifically marketed as a concealer, but the particular color that I use in Light Honey has a very peachy undertone, which with my darkness, I really go for peach colors. That's what's going to cancel out that darkness the most. And Light Honey has that undertone and the perfect consistency where it's lightweight enough to where it will mix well with any concealer I put on top of it while also providing that extra coverage. I just don't have it in my hands at this moment. Now, the 3 that I do, the one that I have on today is by Chantecaille, and it is their Le Camouflage Stylo Anti-Fatigue Corrector Pen. So this is technically marketed as a corrector pen. However, I've seen plenty of people use this as their only concealer, and it's great. It is a much lighter weight feel to it, which is another reason, again, that I like to use it as a corrector. It wears beautifully under the eyes, but the shade number 3 really has that very light, peachy tone that not only helps brighten my under eyes, which I don't like a ton of brightness under my eyes, I like some, and that helps do that, but also correcting the darkness. So again, this is what I have on today underneath the concealer that I'll talk about in a minute. But the Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stylo Anti-Fatigue Corrector Pen. And again, this does come in a pen kind of click brush applicator, which for a concealer is not my favorite, but I don't mind it in a corrector for some reason. Don't ask me why. The Clinique Airbrush Concealer is also in the same kind of click pen / brush mechanism. Now, the next 2 correctors I have talked about a ton. Not gonna come as a surprise. The first one is the Fit Glow Beauty Corrector in Peach. This is one of my all-time favorite correctors if you want that very high coverage, very high correction. It's definitely more peachy / orange when you look at it straight out of the tube. However, once it mixes with the discoloration under the eye, it really does not appear that way. I have used this by itself before without any concealer on top on like a very no makeup day where I just didn't want a lot of stuff on my face, and it wasn't orange under the eyes. It really helps conceal and correct that darkness while becoming a skin tone in the process. This is also the one that I carry in my kit and use the most on all of my clients. I have not had a single age client that has sat down in my chair that this has not worked on. So very, very good. Fit Glow Beauty in Peach. They also have other color correctors. They have a green and I think maybe a purple and a yellow. I have those and I've used them very sparingly on clients when I need them, but the peach is most definitely my favorite for under the eyes. And then finally, not a new product. However, it is new packaging, and I don't think I've talked about this on my channel since they have put it in the new packaging. And this is the Jane Iredale Enlighten Plus Under Eye. They market this as a concealer. And this is the one corrector that I use that I would definitely say you don't need a separate concealer on top of. not only because I feel like it melds into the skin so well, but because it is marketed as a concealer and it is very high coverage. Now, the old packaging had a pump mechanism. The pump was faulty a lot of the times, so they changed the packaging to where you don't have to worry about that, and it is now in a squeeze tube, but it has, the same metal tip, which is very cooling under the eyes. And when I say you need the absolute most minimal amount of this product, I mean it. I mean, if you are not going to like it if you use too much. You need a little tiny, less than a pinhead amount of product. It is absolutely beautiful under the eyes. It wears really well for me, but I'm telling you, if I've ever heard of someone that says they don't like this, and I ask them how much they're using, they are using way too much. The coverage is there. The product has not changed from the old packaging. It's the exact same product. It's just different packaging. But again, this is one that's like one and done. When I travel, especially in the summer, I will take this as my only concealer, not only because I don't need a separate corrector, but also because it has SPF 30 in it. And out of all of the correctors I'm talking about, it's the only one with SPF coverage. So you're also protecting your under eyes while brightening them and concealing the darkness. Now, I do use a brush when I use correctors, and my brush of choice lately has been the Beauty Pie number 110 brush. So it's a very small, little bit more dense brush where I just really press the product in. I do not buff my corrector or my concealer. To me, I see no point in that. It takes the product away. It can leave a little bit of a streaky finish. It doesn't make sense to me. But really, I press and stipple the majority of my makeup into my skin, and that's no different with my corrector and my concealer. So I just press the corrector right under my eye, and I really only focus on the areas that I have the most darkness, which is in this little trough area. Sometimes it goes all the way over here. It just depends on what kind of day I'm having, but rarely do I blend the corrector all the way up like some people would a concealer. I don't see the point of it. It's extra product where you don't need it. And I'm not trying to conceal or correct any darkness because I don't have darkness up here. So that is how I like to apply my corrector and the ones that I use the most. Now let's hop into my favorite concealers. I'm going to start out with the two of my top 5 that I have already talked about before, but that definitely still hold a place in my top 5, are favorites for a reason. The first one is not even fully packaged because I lost the little cap, but this is the Clinique Even Better All Over Concealer and Eraser. It usually has like a little white cap that goes on top of this little eraser thing, which to me, I find absolutely useless. I have tried it once and I hated it. So I don't use that, but the actual product itself is absolutely beautiful under the eyes. This is a medium coverage concealer. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the reason I love all of these concealers is because they wear really well under my eyes. My eyes are aging the fastest, as most of the time that happens as we get older because it's a much different skin under our eyes. It's thinner. Every time we move our eyes or blink or have an expression, that skin moves around and tends to form fine lines and wrinkles faster than most other parts of our face. So I need something that is not going to crease or crack or cake or just wear really badly, and by the end of the day make my under eyes look even older than they actually are. That is not my goal when I am wearing concealer. I want it to move with my skin. I don't want it to crease or crack. I want it to wear really beautifully, and all of these do. This is no exception. Lots and lots and lots of color options. This is one that I carry in my kit and use a ton on clients. And again, I have not come across somebody that it has not worked on. You are not going to get a super full coverage, but it is definitely higher coverage than some of the other ones that I'm going to talk about. And it's beautiful. I am in the shade CN28 Ivory. I have used this as an all-over foundation before. If I'm in a hurry or if I'm traveling and I just don't want to take a lot of products, it's beautiful that way too. So has been in my top 5 for a while, and it's for a reason. Beautiful, beautiful product. And another one that was in my last top 5, and actually in maybe my last video, I think so, where I mentioned having loved it in the past. So many other concealers caught my eye. It ended up getting in the back of my drawer. I didn't use it as much. And then the company sent me a couple and it reminded me how much I loved it. And I have been using it a ton since. And that is the Lawless Conceal the Deal Full Coverage Concealer. I am in the shade Cashew. I have also used Ballet. That was the shade that I was using in my last top 5 video. This one, out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, is by far the highest coverage. And when it says high coverage concealer, it means it. This is one of the ones that I absolutely do not have to use a corrector underneath because it will cover everything and more. And when I say you need a dot, you need a dot. If you haven't seen my bronzy look that I posted last week, please go check that out because I do use this in that video. And I use a literal dot under each eye. And you will see once I blend it out, the insane amount of coverage that comes from just that. I have not tried to do even just the stripe and the stripe, you know, like that whole trend that's going on. I have not really tried that. When I do my concealer, typically, sometimes I will do that. Typically, I just put a couple dots under my eyes and blend it out. Couple is not needed with this, and I have a feeling you're not going to like it if you use too much of it because the coverage is there. However, it is also, for being a full coverage concealer, not drying, not heavy, doesn't cake, super beautiful under the eyes all day long, and I am talking such good coverage. So Lawless Conceal the Deal Full Coverage Concealer is indeed a full coverage concealer and is indeed a beautiful full coverage concealer. Now let's talk about the ones that I did not talk about in my last video, but have quickly become favorites of mine and snuck their way into my top 5 and knocked a couple other ones off the list. However, if you have seen that video, I still love those concealers, okay? They're just not quite as loved as these. And this is the newest one. I don't think I've talked about this on my channel since I have gotten it, but y'all, it stole my heart the second I wore it, at least for the first time. By the end of the day, and I was like, man, this wears really well. This is not a full coverage concealer. It, to me, is more of a light, possibly medium. The marketing even says it's matte. I'm not quite sure about that, but this is from By Terry, not a new product. It's the Terrybly Dennslis Concealer. In fact, I think I have used this years and years ago where I didn't appreciate or didn't need the special wear of some of these concealers because my under eyes weren't at the stage that they are now. And I was just kind of meh about it. I was really in a stage where I was like, I want more coverage. I want the full glam. Like, I didn't appreciate what this has to offer until now. And it is, again, not a matte concealer in my eyes at all. I am in the shade number 4, Medium Peach. And even though it has peach in the name, it is not a peachy concealer, at least not to me. It is one that I do need a separate corrector personally if I want, you know, that perfect coverage, because it doesn't have as much coverage and it is a more lightweight product. Because it is such a lightweight concealer, it does have some skincare extracts in it. And it also says it has flawless time control, which I think is like something they made up, but it's a combination of soft focus, light reflecting powders that correct the skin tone by blurring fine lines, wrinkles, and imperfections to help restore the natural radiance of younger skin. It has vitamin E, and I think the main standout word in that description to me is blurring. This really is blurring under my eyes. It's very beautiful, and really, just like I said, immediately got a spot in the top 5 for a reason because of how well it wears. And it truly is, probably out of all of these, the silkiest on the skin when you apply it. Very, very, very pretty product. Not new. A lot of y'all have probably tried that product, but if you haven't, or maybe if you have in the past and forgotten about how great it is, like I sometimes tend to do with products, definitely give it a try again. Now these next two are, I will go ahead and tell you, a little bit more expensive. They last a long, long time. And I honestly did not think when I was putting this top 5 list, I didn't think, okay, let me make sure there's super affordable ones. Let me make sure that maybe there's a luxury one for someone who really appreciates luxury. I didn't do that. I just simply picked my top 5. So some of them, like the Lawless and the Clinique, are more affordable. I'm going to talk about my favorite affordable in the very end. These are a little bit higher, but they are my favorite, so I have to talk about them. And this is also a newer acquisition to me. I first got a sample of this and I immediately went out and bought the full size. And this is The much talked about, I feel like, hero product of the line when it comes to Sisley is the Phytocerans Eclat Eye Concealer with botanical extracts. I have heard nothing but rave reviews about this product for so long. And honestly, I think I just was like, you know what? It just can't be that good. It's expensive. It just can't be that good. And then when I ordered some tinted moisturizer from Sisley and a couple of other things from my rep that I used down in Miami, he sent some samples. And one of them was of this concealer. And when I tried it, I was like, now I get the hype. Now I get the hype. Why do I get the hype? But I got it anyways, and it's beautiful. And I got the shade number 2, which is really perfect for my skin tone. Now, this is the second concealer that I'm going to talk about that I do not feel like you need a separate corrector underneath because the tone is such perfection. It is a very corrective tone, at least in the number 2. It has a very peachy quality to it, but it absolutely does not translate that way once you blend it out under the eyes. All Sisley products claim to have a lot of skincare in their marketing. Maybe that's why this blends out so well and wears so well, but it does. It's absolutely beautiful. If you are like a no makeup type of person, if you really want minimal steps and you're like, I like a tinted moisturizer, I maybe need a little coverage under my eyes and some mascara and lip gloss and I'm good to go, this is going to be the product for you because you will get that correction, you will get that medium coverage, you won't feel like you have a lot under your eyes, you won't look like you have a lot under your eyes. It wears beautifully. Now, another thing to mention about this is that a lot of people have touted that it is worth the price because of how much product comes in this tube. It is a 15 ml tube, so it's half an ounce of product, whereas like the Clinique is a 6 ml. Okay, so you're getting almost 3 times the amount of product in the Sisley than you are the Clinique. The By Terry is 7 ml. And the Lawless is 5 ml, despite the very large packaging. So you definitely are getting quite a bit of product, way more product than you're getting in any of these other ones, except the last one I'm going to talk about. But this is just absolutely beautiful. I have no issues with the wear. It doesn't wear off. None of these do. So pretty. Now I had mentioned, except the last one I'm going to talk about, because this product has 30 mils, 1 whole ounce. But it's kind of cheating because it's not marketed as a concealer. So I really can't compare the size of this to the other concealers, at least not fairly. If you've watched my channel at all within the last 9 months, you will know what I'm about to talk about. And it is the Chantecaille Future Skin Oil-Free Gel Foundation. Yes, I said foundation. Yes, I love it as a foundation. Yes, I really, if I could speak in all caps, let that be all caps, really love this as a concealer. I cannot stress enough how absolutely beautiful. And if I had to pick just one from all the ones that I'm going to talk about, it would be this, regardless of the fact that it is not marketed as a concealer. Like I said, you get a full ounce, so it's going to last a while. But can you see? I have mostly been using this as a concealer, and I have used quite a bit of it. I use the shade Vanilla. Vanilla, yes, will work for me as a foundation as well, but so will Nude. So, you know, these are very forgiving products in itself as a foundation and a concealer. So really whatever I feel like foundation color you use, especially if you have it, try it as a concealer and see what you think. And if you think, okay, maybe I want to go one shade lighter and I love it so much that it's worth buying another one, you can do that too. I had these 2 colors, so that's why I'm choosing to use Vanilla as my concealer versus Nude, but I have used Nude and it works as well too. This is the best wearing concealer I have ever used in my entire life. It is not full coverage. I do need a corrector with it. I have used it without a corrector before on no makeup days and it's fine. It's just a little bit of that darkness does show through, but if you don't have as much darkness as I have, you're not gonna need a corrector anyways. And it is absolutely flawless. And when I say flawless, I mean flawless. I have not worn this one time where I have looked in the mirror before I've washed my face hours after application and felt that it has looked any different than when I first applied it, or looks any worse for the wear, or has any cracks or creases. I have used multiple powders over this. I do set all of my concealers. I cannot speak to how this This or any of these work without using a powder on top of them because I always set my concealer. So I'm sorry if I can't speak for that. I find that there has not been one concealer that works for me not set because of how much I use my eyes and my expressions. It creases. It's inevitable. It will crease and cake within my fine lines. I have to set it. But it works with any powder I have used flawlessly. So I am saying if you have this because you love it as a foundation, please, 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 please try it as a concealer. If you don't have it as a foundation and you really, really trust what I say, get it as a concealer. See if you can get a sample. Go to a counter. If you have tried this as a concealer, let us know how you love it. Maybe you don't. Everybody that's told me that they've used it has loved it. And everybody is also not the same. So I'm sure there's people who have tried it, not liked it. That goes with all of these. If you've tried them, not liked them. If you've tried them, loved them, please share with us down in the description box whether you love them or don't love them, but let us know why. Let us know maybe like your skin type, how old you are, if you've set it, if you didn't set it. Lots of constructive reasons as to why you love it or didn't love it so that others can learn from that too, because we are all different and what works for me may not work for you and vice versa. But this works for me. The brush that I use before I talk about my favorite affordable concealer is also BK Beauty and it is 109. I have not used a sponge for concealer consistently in over a year. I just find that the brush keeps the coverage that I want. It doesn't take any product away, but it also blends it out smoothly to where it's not cakey or that there's too much product left on it either. So I like the shape of this and how it is a little bit curved right here on the top and just really presses the product in nicely under the eye. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is an honorable mention because it is very affordable and it is very good. This was also mentioned in my last video, and it is the Beauty Pie Everyday Great Skin Concealer. I most definitely love the foundation as well, the Everyday Great Skin Foundation. And this is no different. This is $15. It will last you forever. It actually has 0.14 fluid ounces in it. I'm in the shade number 400. It comes in a normal doe foot applicator. And it's great. It works whether I put, the stripe in the stripe or whether I put 2 or 3 or 4 dots. It's beautiful. Wears really nicely. Comes in lots of different shades. This is another one that I have tried using as a foundation in a pinch, and it works really well. Also, like that, affordable. Beauty Pie, y'all know, is like one of my favorite brands. So definitely did right on their concealer. So that is it. That is my favorite updated concealers and correctors and brushes. Again, let us know what your favorites are. I will have everything listed and linked down below. I do use affiliate links, so appreciate it if you use them to support my channel. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.